Selecting an insurance provider for your business is a big decision.
We know how important your company is to the community.
Alford & Associates can manage your insurance. It's our job.
Alford & Associates, benefiting your employees and protecting your business.
Welcome to Louisiana and Beyond. Tonight, we begin our look at an exciting new marsh restoration project for our coast.
That's right, Martin. It's an older coastal project that is new again. It's called a land bridge, and CPRA, the state of Louisiana, are investing heavily in its design and construction over the next several years.
And tonight, we'll hear from local coastal experts Cory Kief, Tony Alford, Stevie Smith, Mitch Marmande, Angela Hidalgo, and Cory Kief.
And in our guest segment, we'll feature Andy Brzezinski from Grand Isle Shipyard. All of that and more coming up on Louisiana and Beyond.
Louisiana and Beyond is brought to you in part by Edison Schwest Offshore, Bollinger Shipyards, Crosby Tugs LLC, Grand Isle Shipyard, Nichols State University, and Sea Level Construction.
When it comes to marine towing, Crosby Tugs has over 40 years of experience. We have the know-how to safely assist ships into and out of their berths, escort oil tankers quickly and safely, tow ships, respond to fuel spills, and work in extreme conditions. Founded in 1977 by Vinton and Kurt Crosby, we are one of the largest privately owned marine transportation businesses in the industry. If it's on the water, let Crosby be your transporter.
At GIS, putting people first has always been our thing. As we always say, our people are our most important assets. With over 20 office locations, we deliver innovative solutions across 4 key markets: energy, industrial, infrastructure, and power. Our 4 main service groups house over 20 service capabilities, supporting projects from start to finish. We're proud of our legacy and even more excited about what's ahead.
Welcome to Bollinger Shipyards. For nearly a century, our family of skilled shipbuilders has driven innovation and excellence, creating some of the world's most advanced vessels. Today, we are at the forefront of our industry and redefining the future of naval warfare. At Bollinger, we turn challenges into opportunities and careers into legacies. Here, you're part of something bigger. Any yard can build a ship. We don't just build ships. Together, we're building the future.
In a world where you can choose to be anything, who do you choose to be? At Nichols State University, with over 70 distinct degree programs, we believe our students can be anything. Be an artist, a chef, a journalist, an educator, a lifesaver. But no matter what you choose to be a colonel. Be more at Nichols State University.
Edison Schwest Offshore is more than a fleet. We're an interconnected network of vessels, logistics hubs, and a fast-growing workforce of over 19,000 dedicated professionals across the globe. From the United States to Brazil and the Middle East to Southeast Asia, Schwest provides cutting-edge solutions to a worldwide community. And in the face of evolving demands across the industry, we are committed to operating as the best in the world.
Welcome back to Louisiana and Beyond. We're excited to educate you tonight on the state's massive new coastal restoration project known as a land bridge.
And perhaps you've learned in recent months of CPRA dedicating a substantial portion of state coastal funds to create these new projects.
And as we'll learn in next week's program, there is a distinct difference between a levee and land bridge.
So be prepared to hear the phrase land bridge quite a bit in the years to come. And in this week's program, our local coastal experts explain exactly what is a land bridge.
The reason folks use the term land bridge is because it's basically a series of what I would call marsh restoration projects, where you're building a ribbon of marsh restoration projects across a long area along the coast. Think about going from, in our part of the world, going from Cogadree up to Pointe-aux-Chenes and over to Galiana, Golden Meadow in a ribbon, okay? So that's at the end of the day, that'll probably be an interconnected series of marsh creation projects, 200, 300 acres at a piece. And together, when you do them all, they become a bridge, right? It becomes a series of marsh creation projects. So we'll restore a ton of marsh, a large area of marsh in these individual cells, and together they make a bridge. But at the end of the day, it's a marsh creation project. Now it will serve as a marsh restoration, so it'll have the marsh itself will function as a marsh, but also when you connect a whole series of these marsh creation efforts, the area behind that gets a comprehensive level of protection. So again, in our part of the world, if you go from Cogadree behind Montague over to Pointe-aux-Chenes, if you create a land bridge like that, there's a whole area behind that has seen some significant erosion. But when you create this land bridge below that, it reduces the interaction in this area above it, so you provide a secondary benefit above that. Okay, so you get the benefit of the marsh you built and also the benefit to the area behind that. And if you continue that process going from Golden Meadow over towards kind of Lafitte and then down to lower parts of Plaquemine, you can see how we have two large areas where we have this ribbon at the lower end that is marsh itself, but it also provides protection to the areas above it. So it's again, it's not a bridge, right? It's a connected series of cells that together, provide a bridge between one ridge to another. Okay, and the way it's proposed is to do the marsh creation, but also to do some armoring around there and have some permanency, right? To have some armoring around there so that this investment stays for an extended period of time instead of eroding somewhat quickly.
It's marsh creation, right? It's barrier creation. And I look at it in two parts, right? One is this ability to put something down that is going to reduce wave fetch and surge to the interior part of the system. So anything we put on the outside is good for Morganza, it's good for South Lafourche, it's good for our communities. It's going to reduce salinity on the inside of the system. That's a good thing, right? You don't have an everyday wide open seawater coming into all these areas. But you're going to create marsh where we probably have the worst erosion anywhere in the state. We have a unique situation here where we're really in between two rivers. As you get closer to the Atchafalaya River, you have this lush marsh, and you even have land building in the Atchafalaya Delta. And same thing by the Mississippi River. You have the ability to manipulate the river and use it to enhance wetlands. We don't have that, Our source of fresh water here comes via the intercoastal being connected to the Atchafalaya River coming this way. So, this is a unique opportunity to create marsh in a rapidly deteriorating area that, really has been in need of attention for a very long time. And I'm talking about between Lafourche and Terrebonne on that eastern side, but also tie that into some of the features and restoration work that we've already done. So, and then maybe provide some elevation there. The more elevation we put out there, the more benefit we're going to have on the interior of the system. So I look at it as a quick way to do land building in this area. These projects have always been on the books, but now we're getting an opportunity to fund them and go build them.
As we'll learn later in the show, smaller land bridges are already being successfully constructed elsewhere along our coast.
But these new land bridges, many just south of us along the coast of Terrebonne and Lafourche, are part of a much larger coordinated restoration and protection effort.
What you're referring to is multiple lines of defense. So we have different, you can't just build a levee out there and then abandon your levee and let it survive on its own, right? You want to protect it. So we do things, we do mitigation projects, we do terraces, we do bank stabilization projects. And historically, the Terrebonne Levee District has done mostly levee building. But lately, as of late, in the past 10 years, we started doing other things like now we're impacting wetlands for this levee section we're building. So we're going to do mitigation for that. We're going to build terraces to protect the levee, to protect the marsh. We're going to build island restoration projects. We're going to do things like, land bridges. That's this new term that we're talking about now. And it's exciting for me because I'm moving out of something that we're so good at doing, like building levees and lifting levees, into something more interesting and different, like restoring islands and building land bridges and doing ridge restoration projects. All those things just knock down the energy of a storm surge. And not to mention, it protects our levees, it protects our community, but it helps restore our wetlands, it helps to restore ridges, it helps to protect our area so that the ecosystem of Louisiana can thrive.
And later in the show, we'll learn more about the alignment and construction of these land bridges from Gordy Dove, Tony Alford, and Cory Kief.
And coming up after the break, Martin will learn a lot more about another topic as we'll be joined by Andy Brzezinski, who's the Chief of Upstream Execution for Grand Isle Shipyard. Stay with us on Louisiana Beyond.
When it comes to marine towing, Crosby Tugs has over 40 years of experience. We have the know-how to safely assist ships into and out of their berths, escort oil tankers quickly and safely, tow ships, respond to fuel spills, and work in extreme conditions. Founded in 1977 by Vinton and Kurt Crosby, we are one of the largest privately owned marine transportation businesses in the industry. If it's on the water, let Crosby be your transporter.
Sea Level Construction is a heavy civil contractor that provides turnkey services for the industrial and marine industries. From building large-scale infrastructure to installing the foundation for expansion projects, Sea Level and its family of companies offer a wide range of capabilities including driven piles, drill deep foundations, structural fabrication, structural concrete, marine construction, barge maintenance and repair, site work development, heavy equipment repair services, and electrical services. Call Sea Level Construction to set the foundations for your next big project.
Edison Schwest Offshore is more than a fleet. We're an interconnected network of vessels, logistics hubs, and a fast-growing workforce of over 19,000 dedicated professionals across the globe. From the United States to Brazil and the Middle East to Southeast Asia, Schwest provides cutting-edge solutions to a worldwide community. And in the face of evolving demands across the industry, we are committed to operating as the best in the world.
Welcome to Bollinger Shipyards. For nearly a century, our family of skilled shipbuilders has driven innovation and excellence, creating some of the world's most advanced vessels. Today, we are at the forefront of our industry and redefining the future of naval warfare. At Bollinger, we turn challenges into opportunities and careers into legacies. Here, you're part of something bigger. Any yard can build a ship. We don't just build ships. Together, we're building the future.
At GIS, putting people first has always been our thing. As we always say, our people are our most important assets. With over 20 office locations, we deliver innovative solutions across 4 key markets: energy, industrial, infrastructure, and power. Our 4 main service groups house over 20 service capabilities, supporting projects from start to finish. We're proud of our legacy and even more excited about what's ahead.
Welcome back to the program. Grand Isle Shipyard had its humble beginnings over 3/4 of a century ago.
The Prejean family started in the commercial fishing industry, eventually expanding into oil and gas, and now so much more.
The company has continued to diversify and now employs over 3,000 employees.
And tonight we learn more about GIS from its Chief of Upstream Execution, Andy Brzezinski.
With GIS, we're in 4 sectors. We're in the energy, industrial, infrastructure, and power. My group, Upstream Execution, is really focused in on oil and gas. So when I say oil and gas and energy, we're involved in exploration, development, drilling, production, LNG, renewables. We're supporting all those elements of oil and gas. So it's been a great ride. You know, GIS started out in 1948 when the company was formed. Back in those days, we supported the commercial fishing industry. We did a lot of boat repairs, you know, which my background and the Coast Guard background I'm very familiar with. But we evolved into the energy sector. So it's been great. 77 years the company's been around. That's 4 generations. So my boss, the CEO and president, Mark Jr., has been leading the way with our executive leadership team, and we've grown a lot in the last 77 years. We have about 2,400 employees that are part of upstream execution. The whole company has 3,500 employees. So we have 22 offices and facilities. We have 25 service lines. When I look back 10, 15, 20 years ago, it might have been a handful or a dozen service lines, but now we cover all aspects. You know, we have great customers. We work for all the majors, the large independents. What we can offer them is that single source supplier concept. So what I mean by that is we can provide 25 service lines. Not only is it the maintenance and construction crews, we provide production operators, we provide electrical and instrumentation, blasting and painting, shore-based services, environmental. So when you team us up with Edison Schwest Offshore and their shore bases, the seaports, their vessels, ROVs, and you team up with Ballinger Shipyards as well, you know, all our affiliated companies, you can provide that full package to them. And I think with all 3 companies, we're probably about 27,000 employees. So it's very, very impressive, the size of our group. So we're upstream execution. You know, it's interesting because these production platforms that you hear about with the majors especially, they're being built in Singapore, they're being built in Korea, and they bring them into the Gulf of America to different areas, Louisiana, Texas, to outfit them. So, you know, I think for us, Martin, the key is we're taking these assets that are coming in to the Gulf of America. We're involved in the hookup and commissioning. We support them with maintenance and construction crews. We support them with blasting and painting crews, which we call soft crafts, electrical and instrumentation, production operations. And we want to support that asset for the full 30 to 40 year life cycle, including decommissioning. So decommissioning is what we're all hearing about now, especially on the shelf, taking these assets out. That's what we can provide to them. But just like we do that with those production platforms and those assets, we want that 40-year career for our employees as well.
Grand Isle Shipyard has been part of Louisiana's energy landscape for decades. Safety, training, and a strong work ethic are at the heart of everything they do.
And they've helped the state balance GIS's long history in oil and gas with the growing demand for renewable fuels.
From high school grads to veterans, employees grow, thrive, and stay with GIS with a motto of hire you to retire you. The company thrives on putting ideas into action for their customers.
And now Grand Isle Shipyard plays a major role in the Argent LNG project expansion project in Port Fourchon. Andy tells us more.
Yeah, so Argent LNG, the main facility is going to be west of Belle Pass. It's a huge LNG export facility that's being built. I believe construction is going to start in 2026, and the first phase should be completed in 2030. So we're very fortunate, especially with our engineering and technical group, to support them on the FEED, the front-end engineering design, the site prep, and also on the regulatory side as well. So, you know, Fourchon's an important area for us in Louisiana. 90% of the offshore, the deep water crude oil production is supported from Port Fourchon. We, as in GIS, have crews on over 60% of the offshore production platforms. We have a shore base there. Schwest has multiple seaports. Ballinger has a facility as well. So it's a critical space. It's a critical infrastructure for our nation. I mean, we're reaching a point now where we have energy stability, security. There's a lot of exciting opportunities, not only in a traditional oil and gas, GIS and the others, we're active in the renewable space too. So we acquired a company that specializes in wind and solar, especially utility grade solar installations. That group is going to contribute about 18% to our revenue as a company. So we live and breathe the traditional side, and you know, for the traditional oil and gas energy sector, that's probably 70% of our business. But it's exciting being part of all that, whether it's the development of the Argent LNG, expanding and diversifying. You know, Louisiana plays a critical role, as you had mentioned earlier, for the country. So that's exciting to us. You know, Mark Sr. and Mark Jr. have had that vision for us. we've added it. It helps us diversify as a company. We want to be in that space. You know, we want to support it fully, not only with our employees, but the projects that we do. We have to think about not only the economy and our financial state, but the environment as well. So I think it's a blend of all that. We're very excited to be in that. It's going to help us be stronger going forward.
And we thank Andy and the GIS family for their contributions to the local economy and their sponsorship of this program.
And coming up after the break, more about the land bridge concept of Marsh creation.
And we'll be joined by Gordy Dove, Tony Alford, and Cory Kief to learn more about the alignment of these land bridges just south of us.
All of this and more coming up on Louisiana Beyond. Stay with us.
At GIS, putting people first has always been our thing. As we always say, our people are our most important assets. With over 20 office locations, we deliver innovative solutions across 4 key markets: energy, industrial, infrastructure, and power. Our 4 main service groups house over 20 service capabilities, supporting projects from start to finish. We're proud of our legacy and even more excited about what's ahead.
Sea-Level Construction is a heavy civil contractor that provides turnkey services for the industrial and marine industries. From building large-scale infrastructure to installing the foundation for expansion projects, Sea-Level and its family of companies offer a wide range of capabilities including driven piles, drilled deep foundations, structural fabrication, structural concrete, marine construction, barge maintenance and repair, site work development, heavy equipment repair services, and electrical services. Call Sea-Level Construction to set the foundations for your next big project.
Edison Schwest Offshore is more than a fleet. We're an interconnected network of vessels, logistics hubs, and a fast-growing workforce of over 19,000 dedicated professionals across the globe. From the United States to Brazil and the Middle East to Southeast Asia, Schwest provides cutting-edge solutions to a worldwide community. And in the face of evolving demands across the industry, we are committed to operating as the best in the world.
Welcome to Bollinger Shipyards. For nearly a century, our family of skilled shipbuilders has driven innovation and excellence, creating some of the world's most advanced vessels. Today, we are at the forefront of our industry and redefining the future of naval warfare. At Bollinger, we turn challenges into opportunities and careers into legacies. Here, you're part of something bigger. Any yard can build a ship. We don't just build ships. Together, we're building the future.
When it comes to marine towing, Crosby Tugs has over 40 years of experience. We have the know-how to safely assist ships into and out of their berths, escort oil tankers quickly and safely, tow ships, respond to fuel spills, and work in extreme conditions. Founded in 1977 by Vinton and Kurt Crosby, we are one of the largest privately owned marine transportation businesses in the industry. If it's on the water, let Crosby be your transporter.
This week on Louisiana and Beyond, our local coastal experts are educating us on the interconnected series of projects known as a land bridge.
And as we heard earlier, when you connect these series of marsh creation efforts, the area behind the land bridge is provided a comprehensive level of protection.
And this is a complex engineering project, and its location and alignment are crucial.
The coastal zone, which is basically the bottom of the boot, it's 24 parishes, and where the land bridges are going to be from Plaquemines Parish into Terrebonne. The first one we move forward on is Barataria. We're issuing the task order. We got an engineering team put together. It's already in the master plan. It's all in the master plan. Now, we also doing in St. Bernard Parish. We have 3 separate land bridges, along with Chandelier Islands. We're doing 13 miles of Chandelier Islands, so we're doing a lot in Breton also. And we're doing a lot out to the west, White Lake, Marsh Island, Lake Calcasieu. So we do a lot to the west also. But on your question is So, okay, we're going to do the first phase is going to go from Plaquemines to the Lafourche line. Then the Lafourche line to Golden Meadow. And they actually have a ridge coming off of Lafourche that's pretty close. You try to follow ridges so you don't have as little impact as you can, but you want stability below your land bridge. They will be built at 3.5 feet to 5.5 feet above sea level. Being the peak of it. It's gonna be 84 miles long, which would be the whole thing. The original one in Barataria is gonna be 23.5 miles. And it will have rocks at wherever canals come through or bayous come through. Remember, wherever you got a bayou or canal, you still allow the water through. But the majority of the high salinity salt water is held at the land bridge. And the fresh water it slows the migration of the fresh water to the south. So what happens when you freshen up, the vegetation grows, your estuary becomes pristine. It's really very simple.
So we have to make sure that where we put that money has the most effect on our coast. And that's important. When you start talking about a couple thousand acres in 50 years, we don't have time to wait for 50 years. We've got, again, I've said this 3 times, football field we're losing every 30 minutes. How about we do something to stop the bleeding and put something that will impact that marsh and stop it from eroding? And that's what we're doing right now. This land bridge is about 84 miles. And what we're doing is we're putting it with the local sponsors who'll be motivated to put it on the ground, just like Terrebonne Levee was with Morganza, right? So Terrebonne Levee is going to be handling about 50 miles of that. You have Lafourche, South Lafourche handling part of that. You have Plaquemine and Jefferson handling part of that. So we've got some really good stuff going on. You're talking about this thing being close to 2,000 feet wide, okay? But at the same time, we can want a whole lot of giant projects, but can you afford them? You got to be cognizant of that, right? You can't be taken from one project and given to another. It's not fair to the projects that were in place before. So what we're doing is we're trying to afford and make that project, that land bridge, affordable for us to put it on the ground and make sure that it's appropriate, but it has a huge impact. And so that's a balancing act, right? We want to make sure and be able to complete it.
For Hurricane Ida was the first time that we ever saw a surge of water that came in that flooded regions in North Lafourche. All right, we never saw that before. And all the modeling in the world didn't show us that. So you could talk about science and technology all you want. It doesn't mean that they're right all the time. And so what a lot of people don't understand is that when the master plan was developed, they had several options to go with, and this was one. All right? So the administration changes and they decide to change the plan. That's all right. What they're trying to accomplish here with the land bridges is to build a retention system that will help to retain fresh water and combat salt water. It's a great plan, and if we don't get these things, it's bad enough that the regions south of North Lafourche are very exposed. That will be us in 30 years from now if we don't do something. So you want to know how important it is? Look, we have to do this. We have to do this. Too much talking going on about it. More needs to be done about it. And if this is what we're going to do, this is the money that we could afford, that we have the money to be able to afford this. We didn't have the money to be able to afford to do the other one. We didn't. That's what I understand as a state anyway. But it's very important to North Lafourche that this gets done. And not just on the eastern side of the bayou, on the western side too, which is why we developed the western side of the bayou first to begin with. But the vulnerability was we saw on the eastern side of the bayou for Hurricane Ida. So without a doubt, the restoration of the coast has to have some attention. And the faster they get moving on that, the better off we're going to be. And this is a quick way to do it.
And CPRA and the state have indeed provided a great deal of attention to the restoration of our coast and the land bridge project is proof of that.
And Martin, next week we continue our exploration of the land bridge concept, and we'll add to the conversation the expert opinions of Nick Mathern, Keith Guidry, Dwayne Bourgeois, and O'Neill Malbrook.
And we thank you for joining us and hope to see you again next week on Louisiana and Beyond.
Louisiana and Beyond has been brought to you in part by Edison Schwest Offshore, Bollinger Shipyards, Crosby Tugs LLC, Grand Isle Shipyard, Nicholls State University, and Sea Level Construction.